It's the Blueberry Man.
Howdy, folks. How are you today? Today I want to tell you a story. I'm gonna jump right into it here. I went to a truck stop. Stopped at a truck stop in Reading, Pennsylvania. Right? It's a smaller truck stop. It's only got like I think 3 truck bays. So it's a smaller truck stop. Anyhow, I go into the truck stop, and my purpose at the truck stop this particular time was to get a cup of coffee and use the restroom. So I walked into the truck stop. I walked in the front door, and the woman at the register said, "Do you have a mask?" And I didn't have one on me. I said, "I have one in my truck. I'll be right back." And she says, "We have masks right there on the display in front of you." I was like, "Oh, okay." So I grabbed the mask off the display, and they were individually. It's this type of mask, just the medical masks. In fact, I think this might be the one. But it was wrapped in a single plastic bag. It was, made to sell individually. And she said that they were on the display right in front of me. I said, "Oh, okay, great." So I picked one up, and I went to open it up, and she says, No, you got to bring it up to the register and pay for it first." Really? So I didn't bust her chops or nothing. I took the mask off the display, went up to the counter. I didn't have a mask on. I had the mask that was for sale in the plastic bag, right? I get up to the counter. I paid for it with my debit card, which means I'm touching the machine and everything, and I'm putting products that I've touched on the counter. She's picking them up and scanning them. We had a regular interaction, a retail interaction, and I didn't have a mask on the whole time. But before I could buy anything other than a mask, I had to have a mask on. Right? So anyhow, I buy the mask, and I put the mask, I had a hoodie on, I put it in the front pouch of my hoodie, went to the bathroom, washed my hands, came out of the bathroom, went to the coffee bar, got a cup of coffee, poured a cup of coffee, then I opened up the mask, put the mask on, went to the counter, and paid for my coffee. It was a unique interaction, to say the least. I did not bust her chops for making me buy a mask before I could purchase anything else. She knows she's not. I mean, she can't possibly be that stupid, right? She realizes what's happening. She knows. But for me to bust her chops and give her a hard time over it isn't going to make the matter any better, right? It's not going to help anything.
It's actually going to make things worse because now you just destroyed her day.
Right. And possibly ruining my own day. Right. There's a saying, it's not, the problem isn't the problem. Your attitude towards the problem is the problem, right? In fact, by the time I left the store with my coffee, her and I were both laughing and having a pretty good time. It was weird, it was nonsensical, but life is like that oftentimes. It's nonsensical. It doesn't always have to make sense. It shouldn't always make sense. It's just life. Something fun, right? Have you guys had, I'm sure you've had experiences at school with masks. You want to talk about those? How do you feel about them? Let me first ask, do you like wearing the masks?
Not at all.
You don't like it at all, not even a little bit?
No, not even a little bit.
You can't turn it into like a fashion thing? Do you remember what I did to your brother? When I wrote, when Nate was in elementary school, Nate remembers, I had taken a marker and I wrote on Nate's chest, "I'm with stupid," and then I drew an arrow pointing down. Nate thought it was great. So he goes to school and he's lifting up his shirt and he's showing everybody, and I got a call home. I got a call from the school about that, but one of many. But yeah, I don't see how. I mean, if you take the masks, like, say right here's a mask. This is just a disposable one. If you take this mask and you like write on here, "I'm with stupid," and then put an arrow pointing up, You know, you gotta, you know, or you
Your
could,
brain?
or you could like, I don't know, put whatever, like 2 + 2 = 4. You know, if you're going into math class, you know, you could write like an equation on there. You could use it to. I mean, it's like people, when they look at you, when somebody looks at you, you always look them in the eye, right? You look them in the face. So if this is like a billboard that you're sticking to your face, if you got something on your mind and you want to tell people, write it on the face mask and then put the face mask on. You know, I've seen people using them for political purposes. They'll, you know, put a political figure's name on there or something and then put the mask on. Is anybody in school doing that?
No.
You know, I think it was at McDonald's. I saw, or no, it was not. It was Dandy in Alpine. This guy had a Gucci mask.
He even admitted that it's not real.
It wasn't real Gucci. He kind of blinged it up himself, I guess, and put Gucci on there. And it was kind of cool. I talked to him a while about it, a little bit. But, so you have no upside to you for wearing a mask? You don't like it at all? It's...
It could act because there's some really talented drawers in my 8th grade.
Sure.
So I can ask them to like draw different designs on them. So.
Well, you like the chains and necklaces and stuff like that. You can get like one of them bedazzlers and put some jewels on yours, you know? Right?
Right?
Something like that. I don't know.
You don't want to screw up that end of the mask because I end up getting stabbed in the face with jewels.
Oh, another thing I want to talk about is restaurants. When you go into a restaurant, pertaining to the whole mask thing, I personally am not anti-mask, but I really don't see them being useful or beneficial. But again, I'm not going to let it wreck my day or ruin my day if a retailer asks me to wear a mask. Fine, I'll wear a mask. You know, it's not that big of a deal to me. You know,
It's what it is.
Right, yeah, it is what it is. You know, if I go to, what you have to understand is when you go into a retail store, you're a guest, right? Going into any store is not a right.
Privilege.
No,
It's
that's
not a
privilege.
right. It's a privilege. Somebody owns that. You're a guest in the store the same way that you would be a guest in somebody else's house, right? If I am invited into my neighbor's house, if my neighbor invites me in their house and they say, "Oh, hey, could you take your shoes off?" You know, maybe they just had new carpets installed or something, you know, and they want to keep the carpets nice. Yeah, sure, I'll take my shoes off, not a problem, you know, and that's how I see wearing a mask. It's the same thing. And if you have health issues that prevent you from wearing a mask, go to a different store. Go to a store where they don't require you to wear a mask. You can order anything online. If you can't find a retail store that you can go to in person without wearing a mask, order it online. You can get your groceries online. You can get anything, clothing, dog toys, anything you can think of in a retail shop you can get online. You know, but you got to remember that we are all guests in a restaurant or any kind of retail shop. If you lash out at somebody working in a retail shop, it's not probably going to do you much good anyhow, because the person you're lashing out at isn't the person making the rules. They're not the ones that are, they have no say over it whatsoever. They're just doing what their boss tells them to do. Hey, you got to make everybody wear a mask. They're being told to do that. It's their job, you know. But the whole retail thing, that's kind of, I mean, I thought it was common knowledge. It made sense to me. You know, you're a guest. You should act as a guest, right?
It's privately owned property.
It is.
Right.
It's open to the public, you know, so that anybody is welcome, but you're still a guest, you know. It's like if you're at your house, you know, same thing. It's still your house, just like that store is owned by somebody, right? Mm-hmm. And they're allowing you onto their property, you know.
Right.
To throw a fit, and I don't know,
It's
not
acting like a
logical.
child.
It is. It's very childish. If the interaction isn't mutually consented upon. That was a weird sentence. Mutually consented upon.
Fancy.
If it isn't mutually, if the interaction isn't mutual, if it's excuse me, not accepted by both parties, then it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't take place. That means that somebody somewhere along the line isn't happy and isn't wanting to participate in that transaction. And if they don't want to, they shouldn't have to. You know, if you don't like the food at McDonald's, you don't go into McDonald's and say, "Hey, you should start serving tacos."
No, you
If
go
you
to
don't-
Taco Bell.
Right, you go somewhere else. You know, it's if you don't like the way you're being treated at one place, go to another place. You know,
Or you can just stay home and cook, make your own tacos.
that's what I prefer to do. I always get better food that way. But that's about all I got to say about that. You guys got anything to say? Camera's over here. You keep staring off into space.
Well, because then I see pretty things outside our windshield.
Yeah, we just stopped at a real quick. Just stopped at a alongside the road. There was a beautiful maple tree, all lit up in red.
Beautiful.
Took some pictures around that, and but yeah, the leaves right here. We're in the upper northeast. The leaves are starting to change, and some of them are getting real pretty. I think it's going to be an early fall just because of everything being so dry. But
Because people aren't out anymore.
right. Peace.
Love.
Happiness. Blueberry Man, out.